What is this New World Order? Well, I think Michael Berkun provides an excellent overview where he says, viewing the history of the world as a history of warfare between secret societies where well-established upper-class families with old money who founded and financed the Bilderberg Group, Bohemian Grove, Club of Rome, Council on Foreign Relations, the Rhodes Trust, Skull and Bones, the Trilateral Commission, and similar think tanks and private clubs are illuminated conspirators plotting to impose a totalitarian New World Order, the implementation of an authoritarian world government controlled by the United Nations, and a global central bank which maintains political power through the financialization of the economy, regulation and restriction of speech through the concentration of media ownership, mass surveillance, the widespread use of state terrorism, and an all-encompassing propaganda that creates a cult of personality around a puppet world leader and ideologizes world government as the culmination of history's progress. That was Michael Berkun in his book, A Culture of Conspiracy, Apocalyptic Visions in Contemporary America. Now, we've all heard about this New World Order idea and what it entails. We hear things like a one world government, a one world monetary system, and a single unit currency, a one world language, a one world religion, a one world military, a depopulation agenda. But if we deep dive into each of these, we'll see that the one world government idea, we've moved from monarchies to nation states to the corporate state, and from the corporate state to the global state. With this one world monetary system and single unit currency, we have a single unit currency standardized across the entire world, which gives us this idea of a cashless society. We'll have a one world language via the internet. English is the lingua franca, like Akkadian was in the ancient world, the international language of business or the international language of correspondence. We'll have a one world religion, Gaia, earth worship, paganism, monism. It's the coexist philosophy of the Baha'i faith. A one world military. NATO is being crafted, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, to be a one world military system. A depopulation agenda, reducing the population under what's known as Malthusian eugenics. Malthusianism teaches us that we're over the Earth's carrying capacity like a giant ship. We're infinite growth against finite resources, where eugenics tells us which people out of the population need to be removed. We'll have controlled birth and death rates to achieve that end. Now, what does this mean for you and I? What is the actual end game? Well, it's the end of the line for things like national sovereignty and constitutional republics, or private property and private land ownership. The mom and pop shops will be replaced or consumed by sustainable production. The nuclear family unit will be a thing of the past. Father, mother, child is replaced with parent one and parent two. Children are no longer babies, they're they-bees. Sexless, genderless, nationless, and godless. Communal education and child rearing by the state. Immigration will be a thing of the past, as we'll have open borders for world citizens based on, well, the social credit score. Private farmlands and grazing of livestock will be a thing of the past. In this new world society, people will be herded into city centers where their needs will be cared for. We'll have a social credit system to determine the rights and privileges of each new world citizen, a universal basic income to supply the basic necessities with carbon taxes, limits and restrictions, of course, track and trace of all products, all contacts, all travel behaviors, and of course, your intellectual views. We'll have a Internet of Things, centralized system of control and power by AI, algorithms, robots, and machine learning, and of course, 3D printing on smart grids with smart cities with smart meters, an internet of bodies connecting your body to the smart grid. All businesses will be public-private partnerships with the government following the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the ESG guidelines, and of course, the 3 E's, economy, ecology, and equity. The United Nations control will be governed through these SDGs, these 3 E's and ESGs via major asset managers like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and Berkshire Hathaway. Control over all private property, the means of production, and all avenues of trade is a standard definition of communism. Humanity will be placed in human settlement zones or human habitats. The global domestication of what they call the human cattle or the human weeds. All non-settlement areas for human beings will be placed under the Rewilding Project. What Michael Berkun in his book is calling the secret societies are actually secret social societies that are partly open to the public and provide a hint of transparency, but they're mostly secretive. What are typically called the roundtable organizations, founded and developed by personnel who are offshoots of the Cecil Rhodes Milner Group, who in the late 1800s and early 1900s devised a plan for world empire based in Britain, who later emerged with the Rockefeller Consortium, giving birth to this idea of what we know today as the New World Order, based in Manhattan, with the United Nations as the front organization for world government. The roundtable groups consist of the Council on Foreign Relations, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, or what's known as Chatham House, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, and of course the Club of Rome, Budapest, and Madrid. It is these groups and their members who are responsible for the founding and formulation of the U.S. Federal Reserve System in 1913, the League of Nations in 1919, the International Monetary Fund in 1944, the United Nations in 1945, the World Bank also in 1945, the World Health Organization in 1948, the European Union and the Euro currency in 1993, the World Trade Organization in 1998, the African Union in 2002, and the Union of the South American Nations in 2008. And their global to local plan is to implement world government down to the neighborhood level with Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, with their 17 Sustainable Development Goals and their ESGs, environmental social governance. But let's hear what Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, former Prime Minister of Malaysia, has to say about this.
Malaysia's former Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, said that the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPPA, is a New World Order strategy by a powerful pact of people led by the US to dominate the world economy. Speaking at the international conference titled New World Order, Recipe for Peace or War, organized by the Perdana Global Peace Foundation, Dr. Mahathir said globalization and borderless trade are being used to establish a one-world government.
Basically, it is about having a world government. We should abolish all states, all nations, all borders, but instead have only one world government. And that world government is to be by certain people, elites, people who are very rich, very intelligent, very powerful in many ways. They are the ones who will govern the world. There was not much talk about democracy or choice of leaders. Instead, there was to be a government by these elites who will impose their rules on everyone in this world. And for those who are unwilling to submit to them, there will be punishment. And the peace that we will get from this is the peace of the graveyard, because the intention also is to reduce the number of people in this world. At the time when the New World Order was enunciated, the population of this world was only 3 billion. The intention was to reduce it to 1 billion. Now the population of the world is 7 billion. There will be a need to kill many billions of people, or to starve them to death, or to prevent them from giving birth, in order to reduce the population of this world.
Even the children are singing about the New World Order these days. Here's Pacific Unite, Saving Lives Together, the United Nations in concert.
Around the world, we're closing borders. COVID-19's on the rise. A new world order behind closed doors. The storm will pass, we will survive. Around the world, we're closing borders. COVID-19 on the rise. A new world
Not only do we get politicians from all around the world talking about the New World Order, and we get kids and young adults in the Pacific Islands singing about the New World Order, we also get celebrities singing songs that embody the very ideas prescribed by it.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
No hell below us.
Above us only sky. Imagine all the people
Living for today. Yeah. Imagine there's no countries, yeah.
It isn't hard to do.
Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living for today. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
Imagine no possessions.
I wonder if you can. No need for greed and hunger. Brotherhood of man.
Sharing all the world. You. They say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Imagine that there's no countries, no religion. Imagine no possessions. The irony of wealthy celebrities saying that there's no possessions. Sharing the world, I hope one day you'll join us and the world will be as one. Why is this significant? Well, it seems that the Jesuit-trained Adam Weishaupt is reaching through time with this John Lennon song, echoing the famous 6 points from Weishaupt. As David Allen Rivera in his book, Final Warning, A History of the New World Order, page 41, where he gives us the 6 points. He says, number 1, abolition of the monarchy and all ordered government. Number 2, the abolition of private property. Number 3, the abolition of inheritance. Number 4, the abolition of patriotism. Number 5, the abolition of the family through the abolition of marriage, all morality, and the institution of communal education for children. And number 6, the abolition of all religion. You can see a little bit of this being pushed into the culture via predictive programming to get the population thinking along these lines to whet their appetite for it.
Hey, something's not right here. This feels a little creepy. They're not thinking straight.